Hey, it's me, Riker. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new Awakened Talene and see what she is all about. So when we look at the old celestial theme, the old Talene, we can see this background and her skills. And when we click on the new one, we can see this extremely lit Talene that we currently have. So from the get-go, we can see that there are 5 abilities that the new Awakened heroes will have. So starting off with the ultimate ability, we can see that when Talene uses her ultimate, she will deal 190% damage 8 times to all enemies in front of her. After which, Talene and any allies behind her have their damage that they receive reduced by 35% for the following 8 seconds. This effect cannot be stacked. When the ability A New Dawn is being used, Talene becomes immune to damage and control abilities. This is extremely massive for a tank and a hero that can deal a significant amount of damage. Damage dealt to all enemies is increased to 210%, alright? And when enemies are dealt damage, their accuracy is reduced by 100 points. So this is also extremely good buff for the current Talene. So this A New Dawn, so this lasts for the entire 8 seconds. So for 8 seconds, Talene will become immune to all damage and control, and her allies will have 35% reduced damage taken. That's a massive buff to your allies. So let's look at her next ability, Everlasting Flame. Every time Talene dies, she transforms into a fireball, similar to our current Talene. While in this fireball state, she is not considered as a living hero. Therefore, cannot be attacked or receive any effects of allies. We'll have to wait and see to test whether these effects are being buffed by heroes maybe like Silas, who uses an on-ground effect and can heal through that. We'll have to test that out. When in a fireball state, Talene deals 150% damage per second to nearby allies. After 12 seconds, Talene is reborn with 100% compared to original 50% and deals 200% damage to nearby enemies and stunning them for 3 seconds. Every time Talene is reborn, this duration is increased by 2 seconds. So it begins off at 12 and increases every time by 2. So the level 2 upgrade is just a damage increase to 240%. And the level 3 ability is each time an ally hero receives damage equal to 10% of their max health, this cooldown, the 12 seconds, will be reduced by 1 second each time and cannot be shorter than 5 seconds. So our next ability, Blade of Resurgence. Talene swings a Blade of Resurgence, dealing 200% damage 2 times to all enemies within range. Talene then brings down her blade upon the enemies before and dealing an additional 280% damage to them. After she uses this Blade of Resurgence down upon her enemies, the ground before her is set ablaze for 5 seconds. Enemies standing upon the burning ground are dealt 120% worth of Talene's attack rating every second. So this is similar to Aziz's ground effect when he uses his abilities. The level 3 upgrade, the damage Talene deals swinging a Blade of Resurgence is increased to 240%, alright? Enemies standing upon the burning ground are dealt 150% of Talene's attack, and enemies standing upon the burning ground deal 40% less damage. So this 40% combined with her ultimate, it's a pretty significant amount of damage reduction for Talene and her allies if they are all grouped up on top of Talene. So the next ability, Wings of Fire. Talene shakes her wings, consuming 30% of all her allies' current health and gives them a shield equal to 3 times that amount. And this shield lasts for 8 seconds. Alright, and during this duration, all allies are healed for 80% of Talene's attack rating every single second. The next level up, all allied heroes using the shield recover 100%. So this is an increase on the 80%. And additionally, Wings of Fire additionally increases the value of the shield being used by any ally by 20%. All right, so let's have a look at this ability here, the 5th ability. So this is a passive. So this will happen randomly throughout the battle. Whenever an ally hero deals a critical strike to any enemy, Talene uses the power of Solaris to deal 240% additional damage to the target. So this can be anywhere on the field. Each time an allied hero may benefit from this effect once every 2 seconds. So all your allies can get a critical and they'll Talene will do a massive amount of damage from this passive effect. When additional damage is dealt to an enemy, if the allied hero has lower percentage than the target, the allied hero will recover 40% of Talene's attack rating as health. So this is similar to like Life Leech, where if they deal damage, they'll get a bit of that health back, but they have to be lower health than the enemy in order for this to take effect. Attack rating as health. Otherwise, the value of the additional damage shall be increased to 320%, up from 240. Every time Talene deals damage, a total of 20 times, Talene and one of the most injured shall recover an amount of health equal to 160% of Talene's attack rating. So there's a decent amount of healing that is coming from this 5th additional ability. So let's have a look at a signature item. All right. Upon upgrading the skill Blade of Resurgence, so this is tied to the specific skill here, the level 5 ability here. So this will deal additional damage and the ground effect will be increased as well. And additionally, this will gain the 40% less damage taken while enemies are standing up or within the range of Talene, and that will be 40% less damage. As you can see here, she gets quite a decent amount of tank stats, HP, attack, defense, and magic resist. And for furniture, we can see the damage dealt to enemies within range upon Talene's rebirth is increased to 240%, and while in a fireball state, each time an allied hero receives 10%. So this is again back to this ability over here. So this is a level 3. So it seems like this is tied within sort of furniture, and the other effect is tied in with the signature item. So that 40% from the signature item is tied in with, it upgrades her Blade or Resurgence attack. And let's see her engravings. All right. So this enhances the ability where all allies will recover, instead of 80% of Talene's health, this will be 100% when Talene has shielded her allies. And at 60 engraving, this enhances the shield by 20% of the current value that they're giving to her allies. And at 80 engravings, she'll gain additional tenacity and defense stats. So let's have a look at a breakdown of her stats. So she gets a bit of dodge, physical resist, magical resist, but unfortunately she doesn't gain any haste from these engravings. All right. And let's have a test and see how this hero performs in battle. So when we click on these enemies, you can see what she's all about. So you can see that's the Blade of Resurgence. See, there she provides a shield, sacrificing 30% of their health, granting a shield of 3 times, and healing. As you can see there, she's dealing damage. There's the Phoenix, and she's slowly healing herself and all of her allies. So it seems like this is so the Blade of Resurgence seems like it's a AoE attack. Each time she swings, she attacks multiple enemies in front of her. All right, now let's have a look at her ultimate. she attacks enemies multiple times. Now the enemies are nicely grouped up. Let's see how the ultimate looks again. A pretty decent amount of damage. All right, now let's have a look at the battle. So I'm going to use a lot of supports to see how she does in battle. All right, let's put that looks good. So it seems like Rosaline is going to be following Talene as she has the highest amount of power. There's her ultimate ability. So it deals a pretty significant amount of damage to the enemies. All right, let's see the damage. So it was only Talene that was dealing all of the damage. All right, so let's have a go again and see what she can do. Granted, this is not a good representation of the hero, as both enemies have the similar 30 SI, 9 furniture, and there's no deficit in this specific area. So let us try out a different formation. Let's go right there. All right. So there, Talene is in the fireball state, and now she's slowly resurrecting. So it takes 12 seconds. There we go. Talene uses her ult. She deals a pretty significant amount of damage there and is able to wipe the team. All right. Those are the current damage numbers. So we can see the common hero dealing 0 damage. And then Talene and the new Asta hero is dealing most of the damage over there. Let's give it another go and see what we can possibly make out of these new teams. Let's put Rigby, Thane. All right, let's see how this team does. So there's the Blade of Resurgence. There she uses her ultimate ability. And it seems to do a pretty significant amount of damage while she's using her ultimate. So as you can see there, she did all of the damage by herself, and she did a bit of healing compared to Asta.